Hello and welcome back. So today I'm talking about the Nikon D850 versus the Nikon Z7 Mark II camera. Which one is better and why? Now, this is a video I tried doing a number of times, but I kept failing. And I kept failing because, being brutally honest with you, I couldn't decide between the two of these cameras. Now, this is my own personal experience. The D850 this is a rock. I would trust my life with this camera. The Z7 Mark II is a different beast. I'm going to tell you exactly how I found transitioning from the D850 to the Z7 Mark II and why I went back to the D850. And then why I went back to the Z7 Mark II. I'm going to tell you where I am now and what are the pros and cons of each in my own personal experience. So let's get into it. Tell you all about it. So just to give you a small bit of background, the Nikon D850 is the camera that really established my photography business. I was doing quite well. I was using the Nikon D810 as my main camera body with a backup camera too as well. But my photography really took off over the last number of years and the D850 was the backbone to that. This is my workhorse. This is something I depended on every single day and it has never ever let me down. This is built like a brick, just being completely honest with you. What are its main strengths? Size, weight, grip, love it. If you're shooting with a longer focal length lens, the camera just balances really beautifully. So if you're shooting with a 70-200 f2.8, which a lot of professional photographers would shoot with, there's a lovely balance and feel to the camera. You don't have the same thing with the Z7 Mark II and a 70-200mm lens. It's not quite the same thing, but there's a little tip for that too as well I'm going to get into. The other thing with digital SLRs, it's built like a tank. This thing, if I drop this, I never have, but if I drop this camera, I would be far more confident this is going to work than this. And the build quality might be exactly the same, but this just doesn't seem as robust. It doesn't inspire confidence. This is something that it just seems incredibly rugged. So the D850, as regards the grip and as regards the build quality, they are the two absolutely massive things you'll notice when transitioning from a D850 to a Z7 Mark II. And crazily, it's the first thing you're going to notice when you pick up the camera. The grip is different, it's not as nice, and the build quality isn't quite the same thing. The other huge difference and the other major advantage with the D850 or digital SLR camera over a mirrorless camera is going to be your battery life. Battery life is a lot better on a digital SLR camera. For example, I go out and do a day-long shoot, be an 8-hour shoot. I can shoot away with this with one battery, no problem whatsoever. With this fella, I'm using 2 batteries, if not 3 batteries, generally speaking. Depends on how long the camera's on for, depends on gap between models, depends on how many models are there, all that sort of stuff. So generally speaking, this is going to last an incredibly long time on just a single battery. So a huge plus point for digital SLR cameras there too as well. But again, you just need to buy a second battery, or maybe even a third battery, and away you go. The other huge advantage of digital SLRs is the AF or the autofocus system. It's something we're used to. It's something that works, and any professional photographer who's using their equipment, they need to know their equipment. Digital SLR cameras, they all work basically the same as regards how the focusing system works. And it genuinely just does work. On the likes of the D850, once you're using this camera with professional lenses, your focus is going to be nailed every single time. Your miss ratio is probably going to be less than 1%. That's what I personally find myself. It is less than 1% missed focus. With mirrorless first time around, it was a lot higher than that. So, the advantages of the Z7 Mark II. I suppose it's size. It's so compact, it's easier to carry around. Its weight, it is lighter than the D850. The D850 feels like a brick in comparison. So size and weight, again, it is lighter and it is smaller. So it's easier to fit inside your camera bag and easier to carry around the place. So that's a big advantage. And yes, I know, I did say size and weight was an advantage of the D850 too as well. But I'm looking at it from 2 different perspectives. So let's get to the next point. So the next handy thing for a lot of photographers, especially people starting off, is being able to see your exposure when looking through the viewfinder. With a digital SLR, you're not getting that. If you shoot with manual lenses, which I do quite a bit, you can use focus peaking through the viewfinder too as well, which is also incredibly handy. The other advantage is multiple AF modes. So there's a massive variety of AF modes on mirrorless cameras in comparison to digital SLR cameras. Like IAF is one of the big things for tracking not only animals' eyes, but people's eyes. Now, I personally don't use it, and again, this is going to spark savage debate. I do not use IAF, so for me, there wasn't a huge advantage there again. The next advantage of the Z7 Mark II, video modes. The quality of the video coming off the Z7 Mark II is far superior to the D850. So the other really cool thing about the Z6 Mark II, the Z7 Mark II and the Z9 is you have extended shutter modes. So you can shoot longer than 30 seconds. You can set this to do 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 120, 240, 500, it goes on up to 15 minutes. So you can extend that, you can extend the shutter speed range by changing settings in the menu. I have another video that I'm going to put in the description down below telling you how to do that. So do check that one out too as well. So why did I go from the D850 to the Z7 Mark II and then back to the D850 again? And crazily, back to the Z7 Mark II. Well, I'm just going to tell you my story, my personal experience and how I got on. The first thing I noticed, and the first problem I encountered with the Z7 Mark II was my finger kept falling off underneath. I couldn't fit my little pinky finger on the camera grip. So what happened is the camera was actually bending down more and it was cutting into my palm a small bit. Solution for that is to buy an L bracket. If I pop that on, because what I did here is I just went off and I bought myself a small rig L bracket, and now my finger fits. Problem solved. Look at that. And the other really cool thing is it's no longer digging into the palm of my hand, the center palm of my hand. It actually fits now like that. So it's not biting into my hand as much. It just feels far more comfortable. And it also feels chunkier and there's a bit more weight. So it kind of feels like I'm still holding a digital SLR camera, even though I know I'm not. But it feels like what I'm used to having in my hand. I can handhold this for 7 to 8 hours with a 70-200mm lens and there's no problem. So massive bonus. Definitely do go out and buy yourself an L bracket. They are incredibly handy. On a photo shoot, I would shoot anywhere from 500 to 600-700 photographs per day. On this, I might miss 1 or 2 shots. Misfocus, I mean. Misfocus on 1 or 2 shots. But I knew it was my fault. I actually knew what was happening, so I'd retake the shot. First day out using the Z7 Mark II, at lunch break, I went back and I looked at the images. And out of about 300 photographs I'd taken, there was over 15, I think it was about 17 photographs were actually out of focus. And it shocked me. Because I didn't notice it firstly, but I just couldn't believe I'd missed focus on that many photographs. And that's too serious for me. So what I did is, I went downstairs, I got my D850, put this camera away, and continued using the D850. And I did not miss focus on the remaining 300 plus photographs with the D850. So now in saying that, I have to stress, the focus systems on the 2 of these cameras are different. And if you're going to treat your mirrorless camera the same as your digital SLR camera, then you're going to have problems. You're going to have to learn the focusing system on the camera. So that is huge. So this was sitting on my shelf for about 3 months. I didn't use it. But I decided, look, this is the future of photography. Am I going to be a dinosaur? Am I going to stick with my digital SLR? Yes, it's comfortable, it's easy for me to do, but I decided I was going to really push myself. I went out and bought his series of the Z series lenses and I started really using this camera. And the more I use it, the more I see the advantages in this camera. Now, if you were to say to me, Kieran, is the Z7 Mark II better than the D850? I'd say no. Personally, no. Is the D850 better than the Z7 Mark II? No. They're cameras. That's literally what they are. They're 2 cameras. I suppose one of the most important things in your camera is, I suppose, apart from your AF system, it is your sensor. The sensor is practically the same in both of these. The layout of the buttons is nearly identical, where the ISO button is, the center wheel above and top, the thumb wheel is the AF on button. So it's very easy to transfer from one to the other. Once I got the grip, the weight and the feel of this camera right, once I got used to the AF system, I found this camera was every bit as good as the D850. But what sold this camera to me personally was the Z series lenses. They're mind-blowingly good. The Z series 70-200 f2.8 is an absolutely cracking lens. The 24-70 is pin sharp. Really, really, really nice lens. The 14-30 is beautiful. I'm shooting this at the moment on a 35mm. that's a really nice lens. I have a 50mm, I have a 105mm Z series lens, and they're all really, really, really good quality lenses. And the optics are absolutely superb in them. If you're going for the D850 or the Z7 Mark II, you are doing absolutely nothing wrong. The dynamic range, the ISO performance, everything is so similar across the two of these cameras. And yes, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this video to a certain extent, because some people are mad pro mirrorless, some people are mad pro digital SLR, and that's absolutely fantastic. And I, for one, am completely delighted for you. And yes, I'm probably missing out on a few little extra features of mirrorless, but they're not important to me. A camera is a tool. I use a tool probably differently to the way other people use it, because we all have our own different photography styles and we all work in different ways. And what one person might say is important to them, and it's not important to another person. So just please remember that. And this is just my own personal experience. So if you're on the fence if you should upgrade from a Nikon D850 to a Z7 Mark II, or whether mirrorless is the way forward or not, I think Nikon has answered that with the Z series lenses. Now, in saying all that, there are some absolutely brilliant f-mount lenses, and I have a whole host of them there behind me, and there's very, very, very little wrong with them. But just when you're comparing them side by side, you can see the Z series lenses just are that bit sharper. Which one is better? It's down to you. It's down to your style of photography. It's down to what you want. It's down to what you're used to using. But if you ask me which one am I going with, it actually pains me slightly to say I'll be going with the Z7 Mark II, and I will be putting my D850 up for sale. Finally, I've decided I'm going to sell my D850. So my D850 really helped me in my photography. It helped establish my business, and I absolutely love this camera. And without doubt, I genuinely and honestly do believe this is the best digital SLR camera that was ever made. So thanks again for watching, everyone. See you out there and mind yourselves. And I hope this video helped.